Morning, guys. I'm not going to do anything special today for the video. Just going to go over the standings real quick here and talk about the scenarios, what's going down this coming week. I was pretty quiet this weekend just because I was a little busy with other things, but let's go over this real quick. As you can see on screen, we got the standings. Michigan's number one, 12-0. California second at 9-3. Tulane comes in third at 8-4. San Diego State is 7-5. That's fourth. Fifth is Georgia right now at 7-5. Alabama has the sixth spot at 7-5, and Maryland and New Mexico sitting on the bubble at 6-6. So obviously, those are the two teams of note. So let's have a look. Before I move on, of course, Oregon and Texas are eliminated. So Maryland, what's coming up for them? You got Michigan in the final week, and obviously that does not bode well for them. Let's have a closer look at what's going on with Maryland in the bye category. That'll be week 13, so not seeing any buys on week 13 just yet. Yeah, I don't see any. So good news for Maryland, they'll be full strength. That will be important. And of course, let's look at the Wolverines. Sure if I hit that right. Hold on. Apparently it says somebody's got a buy. I'm not seeing it. Doesn't matter. Okay, so everybody looks healthy here from Michigan as well. Buy free. At least players of note. So yeah, not looking good for Maryland here, with Michigan being full strength. Got all their pieces intact, so that's looking like a tough matchup for the Maryland Terrapins. Chances are, if I had to go out on a limb, I would say that that the Terps are not going to make it to the BCS in this league this year. There's a very good chance we're only going to have 6 teams in the BCS in the program football league, and that means one of the bowls gets bumped. We won't need to have that number 7 versus number 2 bowl. In the case of 6 teams qualifying, then 2 teams, the top 2 teams, get the bye. Normally it's only one team. One team is always guaranteed to get a bye. But this year we could be looking at 2 teams, which means the results coming back from Cal and Tulane will be important. Not sure if Cal has the tiebreaker against Tulane. They lost to them, so if Tulane can pull off a victory this coming week against San Diego State, and there's a good chance they can do that, and California then turns around and loses to New Mexico, and there's a chance that could happen, then Tulane gets the bye over California. So that brings us to that game, of course, with New Mexico. This is the big one and the big surprise. Phil Johnson's New Mexico Lobos, who have never missed a postseason since he's been in the league, to my knowledge anyways. Maybe that first year he might have, when the team was a rebuild. But they face California. Now, that's also Phil Johnson's team. And you guys might have noticed that I put up a post on the message board this week saying that you can't go to the red shirt for farm or IR at this point unless you can acquire a red shirt. And I don't think Phil would do this, but I just want to put it out there in case anybody ever had the thought cross their mind. You know, you want to be clear about things. It's not really etched in the rule book, but I think it's for obvious reasons. If there's no reason to put a guy on the farm other than to tank, and tanking in this league is not rewarded, so there's really no reason to farm a guy unless you're running 2 teams and you want your other team to win. In this case, Phil would want New Mexico to win so that they could get into the BCS, so he would farm out players on California. Not saying he would do that, but he could if this was not brought up. If there's no reason to put a guy on farm or IR, then you don't do it because, obvious reasons I just stated. Now, if a guy was injured right now for Phil, was actually on the NFL's IR list, and he played in less than, I think it's 9 games or less, and he's done, and you put him on there and leave him there, yeah, you could get the injury red shirt this year, and that would be a reason to farm a guy. Not farm him, but put him on the IR. So let's have a look really quickly at California and see if anybody would fit that description. Seeing Genti had an injury this weekend, but I believe at this point, Genti has already played 9 games, which he probably has. Let's just look at the game log. You can see, yes, he's definitely played more than 9. So even if he was on the NFL IR, you wouldn't put him on the IR in this league because it wouldn't make any sense. There's no reason to do it. He can't get a red shirt for it. And I'm not going to go into the rules any deeper. I think you guys get the point. So there you have it. With all that said, New Mexico has their work cut out for them this week against California. Looking at recent results here, I see that California has scored 40, 46, 48, 46. They're usually scoring generally solidly in the 40s over the last few weeks here. Let's look at what New Mexico's been doing of late. And I see that New Mexico also very strong score, so they stand a good chance of winning this game. And right here, I'm seeing Cam Scatabo, of course, is injured. That's been for a while. Now, I'm not sure if he's on the IR in the NFL. He is. And if you look at his game log, Scatabo did not play in more than 9 games. So if he's not coming back, and there's a good chance he doesn't, whether or not Phil puts him on the IR, it's not going to matter because when I go and do the research on Scatabo, when he becomes a fifth-year player, I go back and look at the research. I check out the transactions, and I would automatically just give him the injury red shirt in spite of what Phil has done. If Phil doesn't put him on the IR in this league, won't matter. He's going to get that retro IR red shirt, the injury red shirt. So that is that, unless he comes back this year and he's never put on the IR. I don't think he's supposed to come back. Not after that terrible injury he suffered. Other than that, he does have his other running backs intact. He's got Chris Rodriguez, Tyrone Tracy, and Jordan Mason. Mason didn't perform particularly well this last week. Tyrone Tracy did. He's always got Puka Nacua, Parker Washington last week, big week. His real strength here, of course, on the passing game is Trey McBride. I think New Mexico stands a good chance of getting in. They can beat Cal without any shady maneuvers taking place, but at the same time, they could also get beat by Cal because California is obviously a good team with a 93 record. On the season, California scoring 561 points. New Mexico is at 565. This is about as close of a matchup as you can get. This is definitely the game of the week. I'm looking forward to seeing this one. I'm going to try to put out an AI video, maybe reviewing the matchup, because I think, the game between Maryland and Michigan, I think that one's pretty obvious where that's going to go down unless Michigan just completely falls apart this final week. It looks like Maryland probably toast in that game, but this New Mexico Cal game is definitely like a bowl game at this point. So very exciting upcoming game there as New Mexico could see themselves out of the picture with a loss, and of course California would lock up that first round bye in the BCS with a win. If the season were to end today, then you would have these quarterfinal matchups would be between Tulane and Alabama would be one of them, and then it would be San Diego State and Georgia. So San Diego State, Georgia would be the Cotton Bowl, and the other game would be the Orange Bowl, and that one would be between, once again, Tulane and Alabama. So that's about all I've got. I think I've covered everything. Anything else would be just rambling. Good luck this week to Phil and to Ben for that matter. Who knows? Maybe it can happen. But again, I'll try to put out a more, exciting, fancy kind of video with the AI voice, perhaps, in the coming day or two here. It is Thanksgiving weekend, so I should have a little too much time off right now. My job decided to slash our hours quite a bit, so we'll see how all that works out. I did pick up a shift from somebody, and then they promptly took it back off the board. I hate it when people pull that. When you put something up and you offer it up and it's picked up, you should leave it there. That's pretty wrong right there. Changing your mind like that. Fickle people really piss me off. I'm rambling. All right, guys, I'll talk to y'all later.